Good evening, everybody. This is your host, Huge Pop, and the Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast. Tonight, below me is my brother, the M-A-T-T. And our guest tonight is the American retired professional wrestler and a football player, a brief career with the Dallas Cowboys. He is the best known for his appearance with the professional wrestling promotion WWF from 1995 to 1998 under the ring name Ahmed Johnson. He was one of the most prominent stars of WWF in the early Attitude Era. Please welcome to the show, Tony Norris, a.k.a. Ahmed Johnson. How you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing fine. You, my brother?
Doing well. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for making the time in your schedule to come and chat with my brother and I on the Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast. It's a blessing to have you, man.
No problem.
So I guess my first question, like always, is can you talk to us about what wrestling was like for Mr. Norris as a kid growing up?
As a kid?
Yeah.
As a kid, I used to watch, I remember I used to watch Victor Brewster and Crusher and Mad Dog Bud Sawyer. Throw some old names there, show you how old I am. Guys like that.
Okay.
Ernie Ladd, Junkyard Dog.
All right, so you were back in like the territory days and all those good days where things weren't spoiled by dirt sheets and TikTok and everybody else having their opinion then.
Right.
Absolutely. So I'm going to ask one more question. I'm going to have my brother ask questions. Let's discuss your experience in the NFL as a Dallas Cowboy. What was that like back in the day? I know that you're still a Dallas Cowboy fan through our conversations. What's it like being a Dallas Cowboy fan and then an ex-Dallas Cowboy linebacker?
It was great, man, because unlike professional wrestling, when you played professional football, everybody had your back. Everybody looked out for you, I mean, of course there was some, jealousy going on, but most of the time, the guys had your back.
Okay.
And they supported you. It was like a family, Unlike the WWF where everybody's individuals.
Okay. That makes sense, yeah. Awesome, Matt.
You were trained by Skandar Akbar and Ivan Putski. What was the training like when you first jumped in, when you made the transition from the NFL to professional wrestling? What was the transition like and the training process like?
Oh, Ivan Putski, man, was a shooter, man. He was hardcore, man. Unlike Skandar more talk you through it, but Ivan Putski get in the ring with you and he show you. And brother, he wasn't Ivan Putski was a hard hitting dude, man. And he get in there and he'll shoot on you. He'll shoot on you, just teach you a lesson. So the difference between the two is one of them kind of talk you through it and the other one kind of take action.
Okay.
All right. So leading up to your WCW debut, who did you talk to? How did you get the foot in the door, or did it just fall in your lap?
WCW?
Yeah, WCW, yes. Sorry.
Stevie Ray called me from Harlem Heat and told me that him and his brother was breaking up and he needed a new tag team partner. So at first I wasn't going to do it because I just left WWF. I had been sitting home, man, eating bonbons, getting fat, enjoying my life, And Stevie called me, man, and Stevie been my boy for a while. I mean, we used to fight in the streets together. So, I couldn't tell Stevie no, although I should have because I wasn't in shape. I wasn't ready to go, man. It was the worst experience I've had as far as myself goes, as far as not being in shape, not, being in the ring for a while. I really shouldn't have went up there like that, man.
Now, were you well received when you got there?
WCW, everything was cool, man. I mean, all the boys seemed to be, pretty cool. But like I said before, it's an individual sport. And I didn't expect that when I got to WCW or WWF. I thought it was more of a team sport, but it's not. It's every man for himself.
Gotcha. Yeah. Matt?
sticking in the WCW. See, I was a WWE guy. My brother was WCW. So I'm not 100% familiar with a lot of the stuff that happened. So in the research that I've went through, you fought Booker T for the right to use the letter T.
Right.
My question is, who in creative, like whose idea was that to like make that a thing? That just blows my mind that that's actually something that happened.
Brother, that was, I don't know who idea that was, but it was the corniest idea I ever heard in my life. It was pure corny. I mean, I'm fighting somebody for the right for the letter T.
It sounds like a Vince Russo thing myself.
I'm not sure who did it or where it came from, but it was something that shouldn't have been done.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff, what was it like working with those guys?
Well, I had more of a connection with Vince Russo because Russo was with me in the WWF also before he switched over to WCW. I got to know him in the WWF, and Russo he's always been cool with me, man. I've never had a problem with him.
Okay.
You know, I've never had a problem with him.
Awesome, man. So we'll stick with that WCW. You had the opportunity to work with Hulk Hogan. How was the interaction between you and Hulk the Hulkster and that back in the day of WCW?
Well, I remember he came to me after the match. After we did our little battle royal, whatever they were doing, and he came to me after the match and was like, "You know what, brother?" He said, "I got to be honest." He said, "I was scared to get in the ring with you because I see you on TV and I see how intense you are and how hard you hit." He said, "Brother, the punches you gave me were light as a feather." You know, when in the WWF, they said that I was shooting on people and a shooter. And it was no different from WWF, WCW. I didn't treat anybody any different as far as, being in the ring. So I couldn't understand how one organization said, this guy is a shooter, he's mean, he's this, that, and other. And another organization says, hey, man, you got some of the lightest punches I've ever felt. I never got to figure that out yet.
Soft, huh? Hulk Hogan said your punches were soft. Wow. Looking at you and seeing you do that on TV, I don't nothing looks soft about that. So I definitely not. So but is Hulk as big of an ass as the media is making him out to be now? Was he like that back then?
He wasn't like that with me, but he has done some very racial stuff. And to me, that's one thing I don't play is a race card.
Right.
And racism. I don't believe in playing that card or going there on that situation. But Hogan was, he was all right back then, but I don't think I would like the Hogan he is now.
Okay, that's fair. Fair.
So going, we'll rewind to your first national TV exposure on Monday Night Raw, and you came out and you slammed Yokozuna.
Woo.
Whose idea was it for you to go out there and do that? And when they pitched that idea to you, what was your reaction?
Well, it was Vince's idea. Okay. And when he pitched that to me, I was like, there's no way in the world I'm going to pick this dude up and slam him. I mean, you might as well put a Volkswagen in the ring and told me to slam it. And Yoko was, back then, the boys were kind of jealous of me because I was getting a push right away. Okay. And so I remember I went to Yoko and I was like, Yoko, Vince want me to come out during your match at the end and slam you. And he looks around and tells me, well, I hope you can pick me up because I'm not jumping for you. Because when you pick somebody to slam them, they give you a little boost with a little jump, Yeah. And brother, he didn't jump at all. That was all me. Damn. And my poor back.
Wow.
I mean, it was like, he was so big. It was like your hand sunk into his butt like Jello or something, you know. And then you had to slam me, man, and it was all me.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
I got fired up and just did it.
Wow,
That's awesome.
that is awesome, man. So are there any big differences between WCW and the way they did things compared to how WWE did things back in the day?
Well, WCW, I think the boys ran the show more than WWF. I mean, WWF, you had, Shawn Michaels, who was basically running everything. And WCW, you had, the NWO, who basically ran the show. And the WCW boys, I mean, I never got any complaints from them about being stiff or anything. Where WWF, Shawn Michaels and everybody would cry if, you touched them too hard.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
crazy. Wow, that's crazy.
You mentioned Sean. You were put in a program with him as a tag team partner and many times. What was it like working with Sean during his when all the other interviews I've seen of people talking about Sean, he was just hard to work with and hard to be around. What's your experience with Sean?
Well, my experience with Sean was we didn't really, we were tag teaming and he didn't even really talk to me about what we were going to do or anything. It was all the Shawn Michaels show, regardless of who he's with. It was going to be the Shawn Michaels show.
Okay.
So he was kind of, stuck on himself like that.
So, and winning the Intercontinental Champion was a significant moment in your career. How did it feel to be one of the few African Americans to win the title? And what did it mean personally to your professionally for you?
Well, it was great being the first African American to win that title.
Yeah.
I thought that it should have been done earlier with like the Junkyard Dog. I think he was worthy of the Intercontinental title.
Okay.
And I think wait till 1996 to crown a African American champion was a little long. Because there was, Ernie Ladd, and there's a few other people that could have been champions,
Absolutely.
And I don't know. I don't want to sit here, like I said, and play the race card and say, oh, it was racism or what it was. I don't know what it was, why they didn't have an African American champion. But it was very questionable, you know what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah. Growing up, I watched the Junkyard Dog growing up, and I was the same thing. Why does he not have a title right now?
Exactly.
Because he was
the crowd loved him. The people loved him. He was a hell of a worker. He knew how to get the crowd behind him. Yeah. I mean, he had everything it took to be a champion.
100%. Agreed. 100%. Matt?
So after you had won the IC championship, you had a program with Jeff Jarrett, and the guitar shot that you took. Tell me, like, they were obviously gimmick guitars, correct?
Right.
But you suffered a concussion at Survivor Series or SummerSlam of '96?
Yes.
How hard? Was it a legit, did it feel like a shoot or did it feel like a work? Is what I'm really getting at.
It felt like a shoot.
Wow.
It really did, because what I heard was that they used a different kind of panel wood. They had to switch up to a different kind of panel wood on the guitar. And brother, that was definitely a shoot.
Wow.
I'm going to bring some people from that are fans of their show and stuff like this. Justin Bundy says, you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, sir.
Thank you.
My favorite feud was you and Ron Simmons. So since he asked that question, I'm going to ask you, talk about your feud with Ron Simmons. What was that like? Was it fun to do that?
At the beginning, it wasn't. At the beginning, I don't know if you remember when he gave me that kick at that match and ruptured my kidney.
Oh, okay.
But he gave me a kick, ruptured my kidney, and that was all out of jealousy. Even Ron Simmons had said on the podcast that he was jealous of me
Wow.
because I was, getting the belt and becoming the first African American champion, and he thought that would go to him. So he came out and gave me a real good kidney shot, and then I took him and during the street fight with the Road Warriors, I took him, slammed him through a table and broke his ribs, and it punctured his lung a little bit.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, it was a shoot, man. The matches you seen, they were shoots.
Damn. Okay. All right. I mean, as a fan, you would that I love that. I love to hear that because see, I'm an independent wrestling guy, and I love I love how they put their bodies out on the line and the shit that they do is crazy. And you watch TV as a kid growing up, and even as an adult, going, okay, that's a work. That's a work. So you're saying some of that stuff that you guys were doing back in the day was strictly shoot?
It was strictly shoot, man, between me and him because we didn't get along in the beginning.
Wow, that's crazy.
And mid toward the end, we start getting along, becoming friends and things like that. But in the beginning, we couldn't stand each other.
Wow, that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
insane. That's insane, man. Holy smokes! Wow, Matt, that is nuts. So, I have another question here. Matt has also been doing a lot of positive with his community, a part of wrestling with Project Save the Streets. So we were going to save that till later on, but Ahmed Johnson, can you explain to us what you're doing in the community and what you got going on in your personal life with the community and all the work that you're doing?
Yeah, I go and I speak at the battered women's shelter for women who've been beat up and abused, and their kids have been abused. I go and speak there. I go to boys' homes and girls' homes and speak to them, and it's very rewarding, man. It's very rewarding to see some of these kids' faces and know that you gave them hope. Because I growing up, I've been through the same thing.
Yeah.
And to go out and speak to kids and give them hope and give them a sense of meaning is great, man.
100%, man. So Matt, you got a question?
So going to right before your injury with the kidney situation, were you told that you were going to be the next world champion? Like, was that the end goal? Okay.
Yes, I was. So I was told that, and Ron Simmons messed that up for me. So you know how mad I was about that.
Yeah.
Because I was going to be the first Black world champion. Intercontinental champion is fine too, but I was going to become the first Black world champion. And the word got around the locker room, and then Ron comes out and gives me that kidney shot and ruined it for me, man.
Damn. Wow. So, Nation of Domination, right? You were in there with Farouk and D'Lo Brown and The Rock and all those guys. What was that like? What was that experience like? Was that all fun and family, or was that not so cool?
It wasn't so cool with me because I didn't want to do it. And then it really pissed me off. I don't know if I can say it on
you can.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
But it really upset me when Vince pulled me out after like a month, but he called us to the office and he put on a tape and he said, I just want you guys to see something. And it was us walking down to the ring. I mean, man, there was so much power in that group. I mean, and Vince just came out and said straight up, he said, I don't know if I can get people to believe that you guys can be beat. He said, so, I'm pulling you out the nation again. Damn. And I'm like, you just had me piss off all my fans. Now you're pulling me out?
Yeah.
Now I got to try to win them back again. And it was it was a powerful team, man. Too powerful.
guys looked like a bunch of badasses, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that right there. I'm gonna put it right out there. Matt?
96, the Kuwait Cup. I have to touch on that. You won that by beating the likes of Stone Cold, Owen Hart, Triple H. 3 of my all-time favorites. Like, those are the guys, like, what was it like working with Stone Cold, Owen, and Triple H?
You know, it was fun working with all 3 of them. Triple H did, I enjoyed the most because he knew I was green. And so in the ring, he helped me along, you know, helped call the moves and stuff like that and got me through it. But working with Owen and Stone Cold, I mean, it was fun, man. To me, I enjoyed it.
So Razor Ramon helping you into the WWE. Talk to us about how big of an influence Razor Ramon was on you, how big of a deal he was getting you into the WWE.
Razor was the only person that when I came in WWF, like I said, I came in, I was green, and you know, I didn't know much about how they did things there. Razor Ramon was the only guy that pulled me to the side, and he would watch my matches, and he would tell me, this looked good, that didn't look good. Do this, do less of this, do more of this. Razor was the only guy, man, that gave me a hand.
Wow.
The only guy.
That's, you know, and they paint a picture of the superstars in the WWE, WCW, that those legends are there to help you. And then you hear stories like this, and you're like, blows me away, because I'm like, these legends back in the back ought to be helping all these young guys coming up. But
Right.
there's only one guy that helped you. That's crazy.
Yo, only one guy, and that was Razor Ramon, man, and all the other guys were, you know, mostly all of them were just jealous. And I got to be honest with you, I got more static from the black guys than I did anybody.
Wow.
They were more jealous than anybody when I became, you know, intercontinental champion.
Wow. Yeah.
So looking back, WrestleMania 12, it just seemed like such an odd pairing to put you with Jake against and Yoko. That just, it's just such an odd. How did that come to life? Like, how did that?
Brother, I don't know how that came to light. I'm like you. I thought it was a weird pairing for all 3 of us. But it's something that Vince wanted to do, and I don't know why. It was so, you know, because it was so weird and it felt so off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but he decided to pair us up, you know, and we did what we did.
So now we talk about The Rock, right? And he was in with you guys with Nation of Domination. But there was an argument that you guys had. You and The Rock. You guys didn't see eye to eye all the time. So can you elaborate on that argument? What that was about? How did it affect your career, and how did it get you past up to where you're at?
Well, with me and The Rock, we went in the locker room to call the match, you know, and we were going over the match, and he didn't want to take my finish, so I didn't want to take his finish either, and so that became, you know, we clashed. You know, and it was just bad blood between me and him.
Do you think he's good for the business now in his current role as the final boss of and the Bloodline story? You think that's a good fit for him?
You know, I think he's been there a little too long. I mean, The Rock is The Rock, you know, but I think he's going a little too long in professional wrestling, and it's starting to get boring to me watching him. Right. When before, you know, he was the greatest talker on the mic. Yeah. But now, as you know, you've heard that, you've seen that, you know, and it's to me, it's getting kind of boring.
Okay, fair.
That's definitely fair. Who's the one person that you wish you would have been able to have a program with, or just a series of matches with before you had left the WWE or even WCW? Like, who's the one person you didn't get a chance to work with that you really wish you would have been able to?
I wish I would have got to work with Psycho Sid as far as going against him. We tag team, but I wish I would have got to go against Psycho Sid. I think that would have been a hell of a good match. I tell you the wrestler I enjoyed the most working with, because he's a shooter too, is Vader.
Oh, wow.
Vader came to the locker room. We were scheduled to wrestle each other. And I remember I was in the locker room, and Vader came in the locker room, and he sat down next to me. And he was like, brother, he said, bring it. He said, I'm going to bring it to you. And I thought he was just joking. I'm like, yeah, he's just joking. He's not going to go out there and shoot on me. Man, please. That first Vader hit he gave me almost knocked me silly. And I was like, oh, okay, he was serious. So let's, we went on to have a shoot match, but it was done with respect. He didn't go cry to Vince. I didn't go cry to Vince. We were shooting on each other. And after we got done, brother, we went out to dinner and had a good time.
So would you say Vader's the hardest shoot hitter that you've ever came up against?
Yeah, Vader was.
Okay. Were shoot matches more commonplace back then, or was it just something that happened every now and then?
It was something that happened every now and then. It wasn't something that was common. It's just, it depends on who you was in the ring with, you know what I'm saying? And if you couldn't shoot on a person with respect, then you shouldn't be shooting.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's fair.
So throughout your career, you battled through several injuries that often kept you on the sideline. How did you maintain your motivation to get through the injury and get back to the ring more powerful than you left it?
It was just something that I wanted to do, man. It was something I really, truly wanted to do. And I wanted to prove all the naysayers wrong, I had quite a few injuries there from my ACL in both knees and being tore up. My shoulder being dislocated and tore up. Fruit hit me with the board one time and really messed my arm up. It was one thing after another, man.
Okay.
So going back to 95 when you were in NWA Dallas, your program with JBL, what was it like to work with him? And like any memorable moments you have working with Justin Hawk?
Man,
John Hawk.
Yeah, Johnny Hawk. He was a shooter too back then in Global. We had a good match, but he hit me with that lyric clothesline. Man, I knew it was time for me to start shooting back. He was a shooter too.
Okay.
So Mark Henry's a big dude, just like you, just like probably obviously smaller than Yokozuna. But what was it like to be in a ring with a man that size and having two big men going at each other? What was that like?
We only got to go at it one time.
Okay.
With each other. Yeah, we only went at one time, and when we got in there, we popped the crowd. The crowd was popping big time.
Right.
And I don't know why they didn't put, us in more matches together. Because the crowd really wanted to see it. But it was all right working with him.
Okay. Now, is Triple H, was he a good, he's the boss now, was Triple H good to work with? Did you have beef with Triple H? And are you guys okay now?
Well, back then, he was a good leader back then. Like I said, I was green, and he was one of the first guys I got into matches with, but he would talk me through them. So back then, he was a good leader. Now, I don't know what the situation is. I don't know if he's mad at me because Vince is mad at me or what. I have no idea.
All right, Matt.
So one of the memorable moments one of the moments that stuck out the most was the 97 Rumble when you eliminated yourself to go after Farouk.
Right.
Who in creative decided that that's what you should do, and were you okay with it, kind of thing?
No,
Like,
I wasn't okay with it, and it came from Vince. So when it comes from the boss, you got no choice in the matter but to do it. But no, I wasn't okay with that at all. Because I had won. What was that I won against Goldust?
Yeah.
We had that tournament that time, and I can't remember what tournament it was. But I eliminated Goldust with the last one in the ring. I eliminated him,
Okay.
and that was all fine. But jumping out the ring, eliminating yourself, I always thought that was kind of stupid.
Right. Yeah. So,
yeah.
as a wrestler, going through the business, obviously you probably had some people that you looked up to, that you looked at to get advice on how to do it. Who was that guy that you would turn to and say, man, check out my matches, tell me what I should do. Hey, I'm really struggling right now. Who is that guy that you would call your mentor, or your best friend in the business?
Well, the only guy that I ever did that to was Razor. It was Razor
Okay.
Ramon.
All
Because
right.
I mean, he was doing it without me even asking him. I didn't ask him to watch my matches and tell me, critique me on them. He was doing that on his own, man. And I thought that was the greatest thing in the world.
Do you think that's a lost art nowadays with the business now, where these young punks look at these legends and don't listen to them? And
Exactly.
how important is that to a wrestler to be able to have those legends to look up to and say, hey guys, what's up?
Oh, as a wrestler, it's very important that you get a mentor or somebody that's going to help you through it. With Razor, like I said, it was him volunteering to do it on his own. But I probably would have asked somebody to watch my matches and help me through them.
Right.
And that's kind of what Triple H did too. When we were in the ring, together, Triple H kind of did that. Helped me through it. But Razor, man, was the only guy that did that.
Okay.
And I think it's a lost art now. I don't think that the young kids respect the older generation.
Right.
I don't think they're looking up to us anymore, or respecting what we did, or it's basically everybody for themselves again.
Yeah, really. Right.
I asked this to everybody that comes on our show. You've been all over the world of wrestling.
Yes, sir.
And what arena is your favorite and why?
My favorite was Kuwait, because we had like 130,000 people there.
Oh wow!
And yeah, and it was they had their like National Guard come out and stop people from coming in because it was just too many people. And they treated me super well over there. Treated me super well, and I was their champion. I was the Kuwaiti people champion.
Nice.
Wow. So as a wrestler, you got to travel from place to place to place to place, next venue to next venue. Is there any crazy car ride stories that you could share with us?
Crazy car ride story. Yeah, one time I remember it was me, Farouk. I think Taker was with us, and I forgot who else was in the car with us. But we went to this. It was late night after the match. It was probably about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and we went through a drive-through at White Castle. And Farouk wasn't in a good mood, so the young girls who were working there, was taking an order, and then Farouk got mad because they didn't repeat his order right, and he was like, "Bitch, I said I wanted this, that, and this," and I was like, "Ma'am, cancel my order, because if you cuss one of them girls out, they're there at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, not at the club where they want to be, and they're gonna spit in your food or do something to your food." So I just told them to totally cancel my order. And Farouk got his order, and his hamburgers were like wet.
Oh no!
I don't know what they did to him, but they were like wet. I don't know if they sprayed some detergent on them or what they did to him. But I told him, I said, man, you never do that. I said, that's one of nice. I'm always nice at people who handle my food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he didn't see it that way. He decided to cuss the girls out at 2 o'clock in the morning. And it was, oh man, it was bad.
You mentioned that story, and it's similar to what Jim Cornette did through the the Dairy Queen drive-through. That's the infamous story. But that leads me into you had Jim involved in some of your matches. What was it like working with Jim Cornette and that group of guys?
Well, we didn't really associate. We did the thing where I pulled him over the rope, and he was doing the thing outside with Owen and Yoko and them. But I really didn't talk to him that much at all.
Okay.
So, as a trailblazer in the 1990s, you were part of the era of wrestling that held such a cultural impact. How do you view the current state of professional wrestling, especially in terms of diversity?
Now,
how do you view it?
I think they're doing a very good job as far as diversity goes. I mean, I was sad when they got rid of the hurt, what they're called?
The Hurt Business.
Bobby Lashley and them.
Yeah.
Well, I was sad when they got rid of them, and I didn't understand, because to me, Bobby and Shelton Benjamin is some of the best wrestlers you're ever going to come across.
Yeah.
Shelton Benjamin is amazing, and Bobby is amazing. And I don't understand why the Hurt Locker, whatever they're called, I don't understand why they got rid of them.
Right. Now they're making waves in AEW, so WWE, in my opinion, WWE lost a good tag team and a good
yes, they did.
So, Matt.
So in '96, King of the Ring, that's when you won for the IC championship. It was also like the birth of the Stone Cold promo, the Austin 316.
Uh-huh.
What was it like watching that in the back? Like, was everyone popping over that? Like, what was the atmosphere when he took that live mic and started saying the stuff that he was saying?
Well, it was, we had no idea how big it was going to be. I mean, he came out there and cut his promo and everything, and it was a good promo. But we had no idea that it was going to grow to be, Austin 316 so big and so over. And that's something that he did on his own, I believe.
Okay.
So let's talk about fan interactions. And so you had a long relationship with your fans. What does it mean to you when you hear the crowd just go pop when your music hits and you come down that aisle? What does that mean to you? How's that feel?
Oh, brother, it put chill bumps on your body. To hear that many people yelling for you and yelling your name and doing what they do, it really put chill bumps all over your body, man. I love my fans, man.
So was
it the same? I realized that I wouldn't have made it without them.
So was it the same feeling the first time compared to the last time it happened?
It was. I mean, you never get used to it, man. It's something. It's great, It's something you never get used to, man.
Okay. And I hate to keep on asking, but sticking on the fans, has there been any memorable fan interactions that you could remember that you'd speak on?
I haven't had any bad interactions. I mean, the fans have always been good to me, man.
All right.
They've always been good to me. That's why I'm good to them, because they've always been good to me, man.
Absolutely. And I appreciate what you messaged me earlier about getting some 8x10s. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
No problem.
So the last fan thing. So talk to us about the upcoming WrestleCade that you're going to be involved in North Carolina on the 28th through the 1st, and your plans in that. I just seen on Facebook that you're only going to be there one day. What does wrestle conventions like that mean to you? Is it exciting to go to?
It's very exciting because you get to get up close and personal with your fans, and you get to hear their stories about, sometimes how you changed their lives and how much they respected you. And look, I mean, the Wrestlecade and things like that. I'll be there on the 30th, and it's, I mean, just to interact with my fans, man. It's just, I love it, man.
All right, awesome, man. Matt?
So, out of today's group of guys, who would you like to have a program with in your prime? Who would you want to match up with?
I think this match would have been one hell of a match between me and Brock Lesnar.
Oh,
I think that would have been one hell of a match.
I mean,
because I
you
think
guys shooting on each other would be amazing.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, I think we would have shot a little bit on each other, and I just think it would have been an amazing match.
Yeah.
So to piggyback off that question about your answer, would you say Brock Lesnar reminds you of yourself in a way?
Of who?
Of Brock? Would you compare him to yourself back in the day? Does he resemble a Ahmed Johnson kind of character?
Yes, his intensity and you know the way he comes out, I think he does a lot. That's why I would love to go against him. I would love to fight Brock Lesnar.
I'd pay for
Even
that.
as old as I am today, I would love to fight.
You think you can take him?
Huh?
You think you can take him?
I think I could take him. I think I think. I wasn't gonna say no.
We're clipping it. We're posting it. It's going up on TikTok. We're gonna make that happen.
We're making that happen.
Okay.
That'd be awesome, man. Matt.
I'm getting to the end of my question. The Eric Bischoff question. You touched on Vince Russo earlier. Eric Bischoff was still around in WCW when you came through. What was it like working with Eric, or didn't you have really any interaction with Eric?
Well, I really didn't have any action with Eric because, like I said, Eric wasn't running the show. The boys were. Okay. I mean, Hogan, Nash, Razor, no, they were running the show, the NWO. So that wasn't just a gimmick. They really was running the show back then, backstage. Okay. Wow, so there was really no need to talk to Eric.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite eras. I feel like that era with WCW, NWO. I felt like that. The moment I seen Hulk Hogan come down on Daytona Beach, drop that leg on Macho Man, boom, there it was, NWO. I was like rejuvenated as a fan. I was like, holy crap, that was intense. That was insane. So, talking about WCW, I have to ask this question. I'm a big fan of Sting. Did you have any interactions with Sting? Did you have any matches or anything like that?
No, I talked to Sting a few times. I didn't have any matches with him or anything. But let me tell you what earned my respect with Sting. Sting would be in the corner before the match, reading the Bible. Oh, wow. He wasn't in the locker room getting involved in the mess, in the locker room or anything. He would be in the corner somewhere by himself reading the Bible. And that just touched me to my heart with Sting.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Wow, I didn't know that. So thank you. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. So looking back in your career, and is there any advice you would give to a young wrestler that's trying to break into the business, whether it be in the Indies or whether it be in WWE Training Center? Do you have any advice to young people that want to get into the business?
Yeah, the advice I would give them, man, is it's so easy to quit on something. Okay, but they need to just keep driving and try to be the best that they can be, and don't give up. Don't give up. A lot of guys get there and they get independence and they go, we're never going to make it to the WWF or, AEW or anything like that. And you never know when your ticket's going to be called.
Okay. So go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
Talking about the developmental stuff and the whole process, what is your opinion on what they're doing now with the WWID program? Do you think this is going to be something that's going to really boost the business as a whole and not just WWE, or do you think it's just going to benefit WWE?
I think it's going to benefit WWE. I
Okay.
think it's going to benefit them because when they do something, they try to, lock it in for their organization only. But so I think it's going to benefit them more than anybody.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Fair.
So you, as a man in the business, you maintained your own individuality. You were Ahmed Johnson. You were you. You didn't change your bit. You fought. You did whatever. You became just who you were. How
Yes, sir.
important is it for individuals coming into business to maintain that same man's mindset, to be the individual, not to fall in the trap of trying to be something they're not?
Well, that's a good question. And it's very important that when you get your ID, you stick to that ID. You stick to who you are. Don't go in there trying to be Shawn Michaels or trying to be The Rock. I've seen young kids make that mistake before, and they try to rehearse lines that The Rock said, and they try to do their own little spin to it. No, go in there and be you, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for individuals who are different. They don't want, they've had a Rock, they've had a Shawn Michaels, they had an Ahmed Johnson. Go in there and be you, and don't try to be anybody else.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
I just want to take a second, and everybody that's watching on Facebook or YouTube, please hit the follow button on Facebook and the subscribe button on YouTube. Let's build the channel up. Help us out. We're two men trying to have fun talking wrestling. And I have a question from a guy on YouTube. It says, "How was working with Stevie Ray in WCW?"
Well, me and Steve Ray have been working together. Me and Steve Ray have been friends for over 30 years. And we used to fight in the streets together. Matter of fact, me and Stevie Ray were security guards at the same apartment complex. And it was a rough neighborhood. So we had to kick ass, man, constantly. So what you see between me and Stevie Ray wasn't something that just happened in wrestling. That was happening 15 years before wrestling even started. So we were like, we were tight like brothers, man.
Are you still tight with Stevie Ray? Do you guys still hang out?
We don't talk that much, but yeah, he to me he's still my boy. I don't have anything against him, man, and he's still my boy. He's always been a good dude, man, and that's just Stevie.
So going to WrestleCade this next weekend coming up, is there somebody you're excited to go to shoot the shit with again?
I don't know who's all going to be there.
Okay.
I don't know who the lineup is. So, I would like to see Goldust again, without the kiss this time.
Yeah. Okay. So, talk about. Okay, I read something about it. I'm like, oh my god, do I ask this or don't I ask this? So he really freaking kissed you?
Yes, he did.
Oh my
god!
God.
How he did it though?
Talk about it.
We rehearsed this, okay, several times. He was supposed to put his hand over my mouth and kiss his hand, but he knew it was live TV. There was nothing I could do about it because I couldn't get up right away, because I would have been messing up the script. So yeah, he actually kissed me, man. And when I got off that car, I don't know if you remember seeing me take that guy through the door that was guarding his dressing room.
Yes.
You ever seen? Well, brother, there was some intensity behind that.
Did you go up and shoot his ass and kick his ass for doing that?
I couldn't find him. He left. As soon as he did it, he had his bag at the door. He left right away.
Now, to me, that just feels like that. To me, that just feels like a massive rib, right? That's one of my favorite things to talk about and ask you guys. Outside of that one, what's a rib that immediately, if you're allowed, if you want to talk about it, the most memorable rib that you've either been part of or had done to you?
Owen and Davey. Okay, they were the clowns of the Federation. Okay. One time, I'll tell you two stories real quick. One time, I was meeting my fiance's parents. Okay, I had never met them before, and I was telling Owen and Davey how after the match I was going to meet. We had them up in the press box. I was going to go up there and meet them after the match. So while I'm in the ring wrestling, Owen and Davey are in my suitcase busting stink bombs. I don't know if you ever smelled a stink bomb, but it's the worst smell in the world.
No.
And they put it on my clothes. So when I got done, I went to my suitcase and I'm smelling like dog shit. I'm like, what is this smell? And then come to find out on the day they had bust stink bums in there. So I wanted to get dressed before I met her parents. I didn't want to go in there in my red underwear that I wore in the ring, but I had no choice. So I went and met her parents all sweaty and in my red underwear, and Owen and Davey did it. And then they pulled another rib on me during WrestleMania. Somebody called my room, and I thought it was Jay Leno's show. And we were doing a lot of shows back then. And they were asking me all these questions, your age, how long you've been wrestling, blase, this, that, and the other. And I'm sitting there answering it, and they were like, okay, well, we'll have the limo pick you up tomorrow at 8 o'clock. So I went out to the store, man, and brought me a new suit, a new watch. I mean, I was decked out, man. And come to find out, I'm standing outside waiting for the limo to come. I'm sweating because it's hot out there in California. And I'm waiting for the limo to come. And then Owen and Davey walks out. And they're like, what you all dressed up for? I said, I got a appearance on Jay Leno tonight. And they were like, oh, man, that's bullshit. You got Jay Leno. We never got Jay Leno. We've been here a lot longer than you. We've been here almost 20 years and this, that, and other. And then Owen said, what time is the limo supposed to be here? At 8, right? And I said, yeah, it's going to be here at 8 o'clock. And I stopped and said, wait a minute. How did you know what time our limo was coming? And brother, they just fell to the ground laughing. They just fell to the ground. I was like, you dirty SOBs. You mean I was spending all this money on new suit,
right,
and everything.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
For y'all.
How much was that?
They got me good on that one, man.
How much was that ticket? How much was that suit that you bought?
Oh man, you're talking about $200 for just the suit alone, not counting the watch and the new shoes and the bracelet, the chain I brought.
Yeah. So, our fan from the YouTube channel, how was tagging with the Road Warriors? What was that like?
Tagging with the Road Warriors was great. With me and Hawk, me and Animal didn't get along too well because I think he was jealous of that. Me and Hawk was doing some independent shows with each other, and he didn't invite Animal. He took me instead of Animal to do some, tag team on some independents. And I think that rubbed Animal the wrong way. So me and Animal didn't, mince words with each other too much. Well, Hawk was great, man. He was great.
Awesome, man. So does Ahmed Johnson wrestle in indies? Do you do anything like that nowadays?
No, I didn't do meet and greets, man. I'm too old now, man. I'm too long in the tooth now. I didn't do meet and greets. But the right match came along, I would get back in the ring.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if I want to ask this question.
I'll ask it then.
Okay.
So, of course, back in the day when TikTok started, we have all this stuff, They come up with Wrestle Talk, and nowadays Wrestle Talk's died off. But there's been one question, and because you were part of WCW, I think you should know who this is. So, I'm going to ask the question: who is the greatest WCW champion to ever live?
Who is the greatest champion to ever live? I'll tell you two of my favorite wrestlers in WCW that ever lived. And this one guy is not going to be too popular when I say his name. But to me, Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko were the best workers in the business, period.
Now,
period.
the reason we asked that question is, and mind you, there's a reason why I didn't want to ask you specifically this question, because it is kind of a rib in and of itself. We always joke that it's David Arquette is the greatest WCW champion of all time.
Okay.
And the main reason is because when he came in, he as a celebrity, he didn't take any of the money that WCW gave him. He took the money that he was paid for WCW and he put it into a charity. He didn't, and that was one of the reasons why we joke on social media that it was David Arquette.
Right. I never knew he did that.
Yeah.
But respectfully, I love your answer. Respectfully, I do agree with you. Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko, those two
great
masters,
workers, man.
Yeah, great workers. I mean, yeah.
Dean was arguably the greatest technical wrestler of that generation.
Yes, I agree. Back in the days, though, my favorite wrestler back in the days was Nikita Koloff.
Yes. Yep.
I used to love Nikita Koloff, man.
Yeah.
And he to me back in the day, he was my boy back in the days.
Absolutely.
Now,
go ahead,
in 42 seconds, you beat Buddy Landell. What was that like?
It was just a quick, easy match, man. It was quick and easy. I think Buddy was a little scared. I think he was a little scared.
I would be too.
In the ring with
yeah, I wouldn't disagree with him. I mean, if I get to the ring and they tell me I got to face Ahmed Johnson, I'll be saying nope. I mean, no, dude. I even watch your Facebook and some of the promos you're cut with about what you're doing. You're still a big dude.
Yep, still intense, man. I don't know. Everything I do, I can bring intensity into it. I don't know why. Even your voice messages on there, like, I'm like, oh shit, here we go. But no. but I will say this. I said to my wife when you called me, I'm not nervous anymore because you're a genuine individual that just loves the sport of wrestling, that just loves life. Then you talk about charity work that you do and everything else. And man, it's been a blessing to have you on the show for sure. I've had a great time with you being on the show. I'm sure my brother's had a great time too. We live for this. We love the professional wrestling. We love talking to legends like yourself. I have one last question with you. Okay. My biggest struggle with guys that like Ric Flair, he did his last match. I struggled with that watching him. I'll even go with Mike Tyson fighting on set last Friday night. Is it hard to watch your friends like that wrestle when they should never have done it? What do you go through? What's in your mind? Like, hey, that's my buddy, man. And because I'll be honest, that Ric Flair, he did not look good in that final match. I feel sorry for him, man. But, some of them do it because they didn't invest their money. They didn't put their money away properly. So a lot of them do it for financials. Okay. And that makes me sad. To see somebody in the ring that old, and trying to give it his best. But I don't know if it's because they love the sport or because they're in financial trouble. Right. So it doesn't sit well with me.
Okay. Matt, you have any last question?
I got one more question. All right. What in this era of wrestling, we have all the social medias, we have just so many people and their opinions about wrestling. And what's the one thing that you would tell fans right now to either, would you tell them to just enjoy the product? Because there's a lot of just negativity surrounding and in the community. what's the message that you would want to deliver to the fans as a whole?
Well, I would want to tell them, like you said, just sit back and try to enjoy the product. I mean, it's not like it was an Attitude Era where, you know, we went at it for real sometime. Just sit back and try to enjoy what they're doing. You know, I mean, the guys out there, they're working, you know, hard, and they got it made. They got it a lot better than we had it. You know, going from town to town, town to town. They don't have to do it anymore. Everything's a plane ride, you know. And I'll just tell them to, you know, just try to enjoy it.
Okay.
So we'll close it with. My closing questions are from my foster kids. They ask me at the dinner table all the time, "What are you doing, Mr. Scott?" I said, "Well, I'm going to interview such and such," and they said, "Can we ask them questions?" I said, "Well, don't make them stupid questions, but yeah, go ahead." So, question is, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food, I'm a mashed potatoes guy.
Okay.
I love mashed potatoes, man.
Okay. You eat pizza?
Yeah, I eat pizza.
Would you put pineapple on your pizza?
I love pineapple on pizza.
Oh,
Okay.
no. That's a bummer.
Give me your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestlers. Female, male, combined. I don't care.
My Mount Rushmore. I have to put The Rock in there, although I don't care for him. I have to put The Rock there. Are we talking WCW or WWF, or are we talking both?
Both.
Once again, I'm missing the guy's name, Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko. And one more. My Mount Rushmore, one more person. Who would I put there? I have to say Stone Cold.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Your favorite sports team? Oh, here we go.
My favorite sports team. Well, it was the Raiders, but I'm throwing them away. I'm throwing Baltimore Ravens away because they're too sometimey. I would have to say right now it's the Washington Commanders.
Okay.
Because they came out of nowhere, man.
Okay. Fair. I thought you were going to go
respect that. I respect that.
I thought you were going to go with that Dallas Cowboy crap.
No.
Oh no. Definitely don't say that right now.
I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I gotta rock with my Lions.
You gotta what now?
I gotta rock with my Lions. The boys are playing crazy good football this year.
Yeah.
So one last question from the fans in the chat box. I don't want to leave them out. We've already talked about this a little bit. What was it like working with Razor Ramon? You mentioned that he was your best friend in the business, so on and so. What was it like working there with him?
Working with Razor was like being in school again. I mean, it was like being in school all over again. Because I mean, he wanted it done his way. His way usually was the right way. So I mean, if you didn't have respect for him, then he can make it hard on you. But I respected him and I enjoyed him big time, man.
Awesome. So, man, I appreciate your time. Thank you for your time, and we really appreciate that you and having this opportunity. I'm sure my brother feels the same way.
No problem.
If you wouldn't mind, could you tell the fans where they can meet, you're going to be for meet and greets, and how they can get a hold of you on social media if they can. If you don't like that, then that's cool. Just close the show with talk to us about what's next for Ahmed Johnson.
Okay, they can contact me on Facebook, or else they can go to my Instagram at therealahmedjohnson.com. I mean, I don't think it's .com. I think it's The Real Ahmed Johnson. And I will be in North Carolina on November 30th at the Benton Civic Center in North Carolina. And then I got a few other places coming up. I'm not quite sure when the dates are yet.
Okay. Awesome. Matt, you have anything else?
No, thank you.
So,
I appreciate you coming on, and thank you
problem,
for
brother.
being the providing us the entertainment when you were in ring. I have nothing but admiration for you guys, because put your body on the line every time you're out there.
Yes, sir.
And I'm just a big thank you and for everything you've done and continue to do.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
I say thank you to Mr. Norris, Tony Norris. I'm gonna call you you're my friend. I call you my friend. I hope that's okay. Thank you for coming on the show,
brother.
I appreciated your honesty, your open book, able to tell us how it was for you, and I think the fans enjoyed it. I think we had a great turnout tonight. It's just a Huge Pop Wrestling podcast. I'm gonna play an exit song, but please don't get off the line. I want to talk to you, Matt, and I want to talk to you in private. So this has been Huge Pop Wrestling podcast. If you missed the show, I urge you to go on YouTube here in a little bit. Watch the whole interview with Ahmed Johnson. You won't be disappointed. But again, like we always say at Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast, we're for life.
All my dogs, make some noise up in this house. Who is in the house? Who is in the house? It's the gangster of destruction, so you know what's going down. And when the drive-by's coming, then you better hit the ground. Cause when your body hits the canvas, then your head is knocked out. Who is in the house?